everyone, welcome Impact Grant Project Managers. This is Colleen and I'm recording this webinar for the third quarter. This is our Renewal, Sustainability, and More webinar, giving more information about renewing your 2016 Impact Grant and what it takes in order to get another year of funding for 2017. I hope that this webinar is helpful. I know that it is not live right now. This is a recording, but I thought I would just record this because I know we're all busy working people and finding a time in which everyone can come is very challenging. And you all have my number and my email address, so if you have any questions after this presentation, please do not hesitate to give me a call or shoot me a quick email. I'll try to keep this brief. We have a lot of information to go over, and I do talk pretty fast, but try to keep it under a half hour. So sit back, relax, and take in all this info on renewing your 2016 Impact Grant. So, what are the goals of this webinar? Well, our goals are threefold. We are going to overview the Impact Grant renewal process. We'll run through some third quarter report tips, and we'll touch on some best practices in sustainability, including some resources for sustainability. And throughout this presentation, we'll also feature some new photos from all of your projects, including this one from the Single Parent and Low-Income Family Relief Program in Phoenix, Arizona. The lodge out there does a great job engaging with families in need in the Phoenix area. So there's a picture there. All right, so let's dive right in. Here's a quick summary of the 2017 Impact Grant Program, and I'm very pleased to announce that this year we're adding $100,000 to the Impact Grant pool, which brings the total funds available to a record $600,000. As some of you may know, last year we had $500,000 available, and the board approved an increase for 2017. So the rest of this is pretty straightforward and something I know as all of you veteran Impact Grant project managers know, Impact Grants are awarded in the amounts between $2,500 and $10,000. And if your project needs less, you're more than welcome to and encouraged to apply for less. This is our largest and therefore most competitive grant opportunity available. We have our Promise, Beacon, Gratitude, and Freedom grants, which are less money and not competitive. So this is our largest and most competitive grant opportunity. And as you all know, Elks involvement is key in getting a 2017 Impact Grant funded. The last two are really important. Application deadline is Friday, September 9th at noon Central Time. Mark that in your calendar, put that in your email, set yourself a million alarms to make sure that you get that online application in by that date. I can already see we have about 41 submitted already, and very many of you out there looking for renewal have already put in your application, which is fantastic. So just so you know, you have until September 9th. Obviously, as always, once you submit it, you cannot edit it. So if you need some time and you need to wait until September 9th, that's no problem. Just make sure you know it needs to be in by noon on that date. Recipients are going to be announced in late October, and this grant can be used during the calendar year of 2017. Straightforward stuff we already know, but I wanted to make sure that we did a quick summary. So, the renewal process. This is specific towards the 63 lodges that are looking to renew an Impact Grant if possible. So there are two important steps here. One is you need to submit a 2017 Impact Grant application by Friday, September 9th at 12 noon Central Time. Sorry, I'm repeating myself, but it is an important step. And when you do fill out that online application, be sure to click the renewal box at the top of the application. Obviously, I know the 63 of you inside and out, so even if you don't click it, it's not a huge deal, but just make sure you do so that we know that you're looking to renew your lodge's Impact Grant project. And you should all be familiar with the website, but just in case, this application can be found at enf.elks.org/impactgrant. So in addition to submitting a 2017 Impact Grant application, the other important step to getting renewal funding is that you need to submit your Impact Grant third quarter report by October 17th in full with all bank statements and receipts. The turnaround is tight, and unfortunately, the timing between when that impact grant third quarter report is due and when we make funding decisions is very short, and that's just how things are shaken out. So we only have a couple weeks to review all 63 reports by the time funding decisions are made, so there's no time for late reports. This needs to be in by October 17th. So just like September 9th, go to your calendar, circle it in red, set yourself a bunch of alarms, make sure everything is in place for you to get that report to me by October 17th. You are more than welcome to email it, you're more than welcome to fax it to my attention. I'm going, in the email that I sent this particular webinar with, I already sent a copy so you can get a head start. I want to put everything at your fingertips to make sure that you can get this report in on time, October 17th. All right, so how are we making renewal decisions? How are we deciding to give your lodge funding into the 2017 impact grant year? Well, the E&F will look closely at your lodge's 2017 impact grant application along with the second and third quarter reports to make funding decisions. And as all of you know, last year was the most competitive impact grant year ever. So you want to make sure you put your best foot forward. For the first time ever last year, we awarded all $500,000 available in the pool, which is one of the main reasons we've decided to increase the pool to $600,000 this year. That being said, this is how the renewal process works. Lodges looking for year 2 and 3 of funding are reviewed and awarded first. Then we look at the new impact grant applications and they're reviewed and awarded next. And then finally, lodges looking for year 4+ of funding are reviewed and awarded with any funds remaining in the pool. So this year, there's a potential of 38 lodges looking for funding in years 2 and 3. Don't know how many new applications we'll get. That is up to how many we get, right? Unfortunately, I can't see the future, so I am not sure how many new applications we'll get. And then we have about 25 lodges looking for funding in year 4+. So take these numbers and advice with a grain of salt, and I say that to mean that there are just a million ways that all of this can go, and the numbers are not for sure, right? We could get just 2 new applications in and have a bunch of funding left over for years 4+, or we can get 400 fundable new applications and have no money left over for 4+. Caveat there, we always have money left over for people looking for funding in years 4 and above. But just know that, you know, like I had mentioned, the impact grant process was the most competitive last year. I'm expecting it to be competitive this year, even with $600,000 at our fingertips. 38 lodges perhaps looking for years 2 and 3 of funding, 25 looking for year 4+. So it's important we just keep in mind all those numbers and know that, you know, nothing about this process is for sure. Funding is never guaranteed, and I wanted to lay all that out there and be as transparent as possible regarding our renewal process so we know exactly how all of this is to go, you know, to the best of our ability. So there it is. That's how we look at renewals. Again, year 2 and 3 and the new projects looked at first, and then any remaining funds for the 4+. So got some renewal FAQs. These are the 4 most commonly asked questions when lodges are looking to renew funding for the next year for the impact grant. The first, what if my lodge has impact grant funds left over at the end of the year? And that is a fantastic question. Lodges will have the ability to apply for an extension in 2017 and use any leftover funds for the project continuing into the new year. More information on this will be sent with the 4th quarter report, but please keep this in mind for planning purposes. When you reapply for funding in 2017, make sure you're thoughtful regarding how much money you're actually going to need. Make sure you're thoughtful about how much money you'll have left over and what that means for planning in 2017. So again, you are more than welcome to use any leftover funds from 2016 into next year you know, with the caveat, we just ask you to fill out a really quick extension request and making sure that those funds are going towards, you know, this same impact grant project you've been running all year anyways. But again, you will have the opportunity to apply for an extension. So if you're already looking into the future and you can tell you'll have money left over, don't panic. It's okay. We'll let you use it into 2017. So that's our first most frequently asked question. Number 2, can my lodge apply for a different project in 2017 for the impact grant? And yes, the lodge can go in a different direction in 2017 if you'd like. But just keep in mind that the project and the application will be considered new. And thinking about the renewal process, keep in mind where that lands you. And just know that having a 2016 impact grant funded will not increase your chances of getting a new project funded. So if you do want to go in a different direction and apply for a new project for the impact grant, kind of wipes the slate clean, okay? You're going in new and everything is new. So yeah, new projects will be reviewed by the merits and information contained on that application only. And also please note that slight additions and changes to your 2016 project into 2017 will not make it new if you're planning on continuing to help the same population in need in the same way. So, you know, an example of this is if you currently have, you know, say a backpack program that you've been doing only during the summer and you would like to also extend it into some of the school year for 2017, that wouldn't be considered a new project. You're still helping the same kids in the same way, so we would consider it a renewal and you know, a second year or you know, third year or whatever of the same project. So more than welcome to go in a different direction. It would be considered a new project, and getting an impact grant in 2016 does not increase your chances of getting a 2017 impact grant approved for a new project. So keep all that in mind. Number 3, can my lodge apply for other E&F grants for this project? Yes, you are more than welcome to use the Promise, Beacon, Gratitude, or Freedom Grant in conjunction with your 2017 impact grant project. Just as long as the merits and the project, you know, fit both guidelines for both grants. And the last one, is it acceptable for the lodge to fundraise for this impact grant activity? Yes, and we encourage it. We'll talk about this more a little bit later, but you're more than welcome to fundraise for your impact grant project. If you're looking ahead and you know that you're going to need more than $10,000 to run the project in 2017, for example, we really encourage your lodge to you know, use the fundraising capabilities that you already have to raise funds specifically earmarked for this project. Keep one thing in mind, you cannot use impact grant funds to run fundraising events for this project. So you can't use the funds that we gave you to run a fundraiser for the project, but you are more than welcome to fundraise for the project not using impact grant funds. I said that really confusingly. If you have any questions about that, let me know, but more than welcome to fundraise for the impact grant project. All right, so that was the renewal process, right? Turn in the 2017 application by September 9th at noon and get your third quarter report in by October 17th. Those were the big 2 takeaways I hope you have from those slides that we just discussed. So we're going to go into a little bit more detail now on the third quarter report. Third quarter report, again, is a very important part of making renewal funding decisions for the E&F. So make sure that you're putting your best foot forward on this particular report. This is your time to shine. This is the time to knock it out of the park. So third verse, same as the first. We have questions, receipts, and bank statements needed in this particular application. It's going out in Word format, much like usual. I think there's 7 questions on this particular third quarter report. You want to make sure that you knock it out of the park on involvement and impact. So what do we mean by involvement? We mean, how is this more than a donation? Things that go a long way to demonstrate involvement would be you know, writing the number of active volunteer opportunities, but not necessarily the number of volunteers. So what I mean by that, it's really impressive. The lodge has 30 volunteers, but if, you know, 29 of those volunteers are simply taking in a presentation on the program that doesn't qualify, right? If you have 30 volunteers out there doing things on this date, and this date, that's what's really impressive. What also goes a long way to demonstrate involvement is stories from volunteers, letters and anecdotes from partner organizations highlighting active volunteers and not material support. So any sort of anecdotes or stories to demonstrate how your lodge membership is getting out there and actively involved in this project, the better. That's what we want to see for involvement. We want to see that this is going beyond just simply donating a check. This is going beyond simply donating supplies to people in need. So make sure that that question and that is fully explained and demonstrated in the third quarter report. Likewise, impact. So what are you using to evaluate your success? Make sure you knock this out of the park in the third quarter report as well. So things that go a long way to demonstrate impact include an evaluation plan that goes beyond numbers served, surveys and thank you notes from those served by the project. So I've talked about this since day one really of the 2016 Impact Grant year. You want to make sure that you're going beyond just simply how many people you're reaching with this project. You know, you could reach 1 million people with your Impact Grant project, but if you have no idea how or why you're reaching them, it doesn't mean anything, right? You want to make sure you know what you're doing matters and counts and in what way. And a good way to do that is having a good evaluation process. You know, coming up with indicators that measure success and making sure that you know what you're doing is helping and why and how. So again, surveys and thank you notes are a great way to demonstrate that. You know, think about ways you can do that now and then make sure those are explained and included in the third quarter report. And then just a note, if you're struggling on one or both of these areas, you know, perhaps it's time to refocus or add to your project. If you just, you know, are not getting the involvement to demonstrate that this project goes beyond a donation, or if you're not sure you're making an impact, or if you don't have an impact evaluation process that you can think of for this project, perhaps it's time to add to it, or time to give me a call to talk about it, or you know, refocus your project to include those two key areas, because again, this is what we're going to be looking for on the third quarter report. Again, I want to be as transparent as possible about what will make getting renewal funding possible for your lodge, what will increase your chances of getting another impact grant. Having these two things fully explained on the third quarter report will go a long way to do that. All right, so how do you measure impact and how do you evaluate your project? Well, here are some resources to hopefully at least get your mind, you know, turning about how you can do this. So one good resource is looking at page 9 of the Impact Grant Project Manager Toolbox that I sent via email a bunch of times, and it's also posted on the Impact Grant website if you want to take a look or you lost your copy. Again, that toolbox is just basically a PowerPoint presentation with a bunch of links on it. It really doesn't have anything else, but those links on page 9 speak directly to ways in which you can evaluate your project. Another good recommendation would be to try SurveyMonkey's free survey feature for survey templates. You know, sometimes, and you know, I do this all the time, I'm not really sure where to start, and SurveyMonkey might be a good place to start. They have templates specifically for surveys, and surveys, you can survey your volunteers, you can survey those you're helping. They can take those surveys online, or you can print them out any way you want to do it. SurveyMonkey, I know a lot of people think you have to pay for it, but they do have a free option, and that would be a great place to start to start thinking about surveying your clientele. Another good resource is other Impact Grant project managers. We have some great project managers out there who've been doing this since day one and who would be more than willing to help. So I can get you guys in contact. So, you know, again, what better way to learn about what you need to do than talking to someone who's been exactly in your position, right? Who's managed this full-scale service project and been successful at evaluation and impact. So if you want some ideas from someone who's been in your position before, let me know and I'd be more than happy to get you in contact with some of our veteran project managers. And then the last one is probably the easiest one, but it's also one that we forget about most often, right? Go beyond the smile and just ask. If you have a feeling that you're making a difference in someone's life through the Impact Grant Project, confirm that with a conversation. You don't have to ask every single person that comes through the door, right? You don't have to ask every single person that you're helping. You could through a survey, but if you just want to ask 2 or 3 people about what this project means to them and why it's helping, that goes a long way to demonstrate impact. And that's a great way to evaluate what you're doing is working. All right, so we've gone over the renewal process, we've gone over the third quarter report, and I hope what you're getting from all of this is A, the renewal process, while daunting, is pretty straightforward. B, there are some key things in the third quarter report that we all need to make sure we focus on to increase your chances of getting funded again for 2017. And C, that this year is going to be competitive, and it's always important to think about sustainability because of the competitive nature of the impact grant. So like I'd mentioned before, impact grant funding is never a guarantee, and sustainability is something that we should all be thinking about if your project is something that the Lodge would like to continue. So here's what I mean by sustainability. It can mean anything from fundraising money, soliciting money from other organizations or businesses, or getting skilled volunteers in your lodge or the community to help you. And we'll go through each of these in a little bit more detail. But again, sustainability, an important thing to start thinking about if you haven't already, and we'll go through some resources on that. So here are some real-world examples of ways that lodges who currently have an impact grant right now, who might be listening right now, and if you are, shout out, hey, you guys are doing a great job. Here are some lodges who are already thinking about sustainability and taking steps to get money or resources or time from volunteers to help sustain their project beyond the $10,000 that we issued them. So good example, Coos Bay, Oregon, lodge number 1160. Sharon out there runs a garage sale every year to fundraise for their snack pack program, among other fundraising activities, and they've been doing that since day one, and they do a great job. They get a lot of participation from the lodge, and it's a simple way, well, not simple, it takes a lot of work, but it's a way in which they fundraise money for their snack pack program. Beverly Salem, Massachusetts, lodge number 1309. It's new lodge, new impact grant lodge. This is their first year. But Peter out there has gotten a lodge assistance grant from his local Walmart to help supplement the program. And I'll talk a little bit more about the lodge assistance grant in the next slide. But Peter out there is thinking of other ways to secure funding from other organizations and through other grants beyond just the impact grant. Bristol County, Rhode Island, lodge number 1860 has been fundraising forever. Again, much like Coos Bay, they've had the impact grant for many years now, but they are consistently supplementing their impact grant as the years go on with fundraising in their lodge, and they do a great job with that. And then Hopkins, Minnesota, lodge number 2221, which is the Teaming Up for Teens program, and that photo out there. Hopkins has harnessed the skilled volunteers and community material help. So for example, a member's husband who's in graphic design helped design promotional and print products for the project, and they continually take in material donations from all parts of the community and other organizations, and even if they can't use them, they take them, which I think is so key. They will take anything and everything to help this program keep running, and then they use the impact grant funds to supplement what they don't get in donations. And not only does it help the project run on its own, it also engages other parts of the community and engages other organizations in this very important project. So they do a great job of harnessing skilled volunteers and soliciting material donations beyond the impact grant funds they already get. So 4 great examples of, again, impact grant lodges in your position who are thinking about sustainability in a big way and getting funding and material support beyond just the impact grant for their project. So where are some sustainability resources? Well, Page 10 of the Impact Grant Project Manager Toolbox has a bunch of links on sustainability, including links to, I think, fundraising ideas and also, you know, GoFundMe resources and pages like that. So check that out. You can also consider applying for corporate grants using the Lodge Assistance Grant. And the link I have here is, you know, a helpful list of corporations that offer grant programs. But please note, though, this is important. This is one of the most comprehensive lists I could find online, but it does include information on matching gifts and volunteer hour programs, which unfortunately do not qualify for Lodge Assistance grants. So the list I'm giving you is, again, the most comprehensive one I found. It's a good jumping off point when you're thinking of soliciting donations and grants from corporations, but just know that matching gifts and volunteer hour programs do not qualify under the Lodge Assistance grant. Only grant opportunities qualify for the Lodge Assistance Grant. So, but you can call your local Target, Walmart, Sam's Club to see if these opportunities are available in your community. And if at any point in you calling or asking, they indicate they need a 501c3, you know, charitable tax designation in order to receive a grant or a donation, know that the Lodge Assistance Grant can help with that. So again, if you're, for example, your local Walmart is willing to donate $1,500 to your Impact Grant program, Walmart does require the 501c3 designation to make that donation, but can help out with the Lodge Assistance Grant. Super easy, then you can get that check for your Impact Grant program. So call me for more information on that. You know, it's something that is open to all lodges, but you know, sometimes it's very narrow, and there's a lot of restrictions and red tape and, you know, that sort of thing, as probably you're starting to become aware. But it is out there for you, and I really encourage you to look at other grant opportunities and opportunities for funding from other organizations, because honestly, every single one of the 63 projects we funded this year are worthwhile, and every single one is charitable, and every single one is one that I think other organizations or, you know, corporations or stores in your city or town would be interested in helping too, because they are all very worthwhile. And then you can also try E&F's searchable fundraiser database. That is in the My E&F section of the E&F website under fundraising chairs. So this was designed for E&F fundraising chairs, but you know, ideas can be augmented to fundraise for your Impact Grant project. So again, it's a searchable database. All of the fundraising, you know, fundraiser ideas there are, you know, tailored to raise money for the E&F at your lodge, but you know, substitute E&F, substitute your Impact Grant project for E&F, and those ideas could work for you too. So those are just some ideas. If you have any questions, especially again with the Lodge Assistance Grant, please let me know. So, even more resources. Visit the Impact Grant website. You're going to need to if you want to apply for 2017 anyways, and check out these awesome resources. As you can see, the Impact Grant Toolbox, that's your project manager toolbox. That's where that lives, and take a look at all these, refresh yourself, you know, especially if you're a lodge that has gotten the Impact Grant for a long time. It's always good to refresh when you're applying again, and you know, use these resources, pass them on to other lodges who are looking to apply for the Impact Grant. You guys are the ones that got the Impact Grant last year, so you know best, but it's always good to remind yourselves of, you know, what we're looking for in the application and the way in which we make funding decisions. So. And here are some more webinars we have coming up on the calendar. Those will be live, unlike this one, so you'll be able to ask questions in real time. You know, so other stuff coming up. We're trying to do webinar once a month this year, and we hope that they help everyone take advantage of all of our E&F grant opportunities. So. All right. So we went through that kind of fast. If you have any questions, please contact me. Again, I wanted to do this webinar because I wanted to be as transparent as possible about the renewal process for your lodge for 2017. But again, all of you have such worthwhile, fantastic projects, and all of you work so hard and make such a big difference in your community. I am just incredibly proud to be a part of it, and you know, I hope I didn't make renewals sound too daunting. I think every single lodge all 63 of you should go ahead and reapply for funding in 2017. And again, if you have any questions, please call me. I'd be more than happy to go through any or all of this information on the webinar. So with that being said, thanks so much for taking the time to listen, and we'll talk soon. Thanks.